The Lekki Toll Gate shooting, a turning point in Nigeria's history. On the evening of October 20th, 2020, Lagos, Nigeria's largest city, became the epicenter of a tragedy that would forever mark the nation's history. The Lekki Toll Gate, a bustling hub of commerce and connectivity, turned into a battlefield as peaceful protesters demanding an end to police brutality were met with bullets. The events of that night, now etched in the collective memory as the Lekki Toll Gate shooting, sent shockwaves across Nigeria and the world. The EndSARS protests had begun weeks earlier as a grassroots campaign, sparked by years of abuse and extrajudicial killings attributed to the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, a unit of the Nigerian police force. Protests erupted across Nigeria in early October 2020, with citizens demanding the disbandment of SARS and comprehensive police reforms. What started as a youth-led call for reform quickly grew into a nationwide movement, drawing tens of thousands into the streets. Protesters, armed with placards and chants of solidarity, demanded an end to police brutality, systemic corruption, and governance failures. By mid-October, Lagos had become a focal point of the protests. The Lekki Toll Gate in Lagos became a central gathering spot. Day after day, young Nigerians gathered there, raising their voices in unity. They waved the national flag, sang the national anthem, and held candlelight vigils to honor victims of police brutality. The toll gate symbolized hope, resilience, and the collective power of a generation. As the protests gained momentum, the government imposed a curfew in Lagos, ostensibly to curb escalating unrest, citing escalating violence in other parts of the state. That evening, despite the curfew, protesters gathered at the Lekki Toll Gate, refusing to abandon their cause. They sat on the ground waving flags and singing. Then, without warning, the lights at the toll gate were turned off, plunging the area into darkness. At approximately 6:50 p.m., Nigerian army personnel arrived, and chaos erupted. Witnesses reported hearing gunshots as soldiers fired into the crowd. Protesters scrambled for cover, their cries for help drowned out by the sound of gunfire. Amid the carnage, videos surfaced online showing bloodied protesters and frantic scenes. One particularly harrowing clip showed a young woman attempting to save a wounded man as the Nigerian flag, stained with blood, lay beside him. The images sparked global outrage. Amnesty International later stated that at least 12 protesters were killed during the incident. By dawn, the Lekki Toll Gate was eerily quiet. The Lagos state government initially denied any fatalities, with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu attributing the incident to forces beyond our direct control. The Nigerian army also denied involvement, labeling reports of the shooting as fake news. However, eyewitness accounts, video evidence, and independent investigations painted a different picture. Reports suggested that dozens had been killed or injured, though the exact death toll remains disputed. The Nigerian army and the Lagos state government faced widespread condemnation. Authorities attempted to dismiss the incident as fake news, fueling public anger. The protests intensified in the days that followed, but the movement eventually lost momentum as the government cracked down on dissent. In response to public outcry, the Lagos state government established a judicial panel of inquiry to investigate the incident. In November 2021, the panel's report was leaked, revealing that the Nigerian army had indeed fired live rounds at peaceful protesters, resulting in multiple deaths and injuries. In November 2021, the panel's report was leaked, revealing that the Nigerian army had indeed fired live rounds at peaceful protesters, resulting in multiple deaths and injuries. The report described the incident as a massacre and accused both the military and the police of attempting to cover up the events. The Lekki Toll Gate shooting drew condemnation from human rights organizations, world leaders, and celebrities. Amnesty International documented evidence of human rights violations and called for accountability. In the United States, lawmakers and global figures like Beyoncé, Rihanna, and John Boyega voiced their support for the EndSARS movement. The incident also galvanized Nigerians in the diaspora, who organized protests in cities around the world. The international attention pressured the Nigerian government to address the issue, though concrete action remained elusive. 2 years later, the Lekki Toll Gate remains a haunting symbol of unfulfilled promises and unresolved pain. Panels of inquiry were set up to investigate the incident, but many Nigerians viewed these efforts as superficial. Families of the victims continue to seek justice, and survivors live with physical and emotional scars. The EndSARS protests were not just about ending police brutality, they were a cry for systemic change. While the movement brought temporary reforms, including the disbandment of SARS, the deeper issues of governance and accountability persist. The Lekki Toll Gate shooting is more than a tragedy. It is a reminder of the resilience of Nigeria's youth and their demand for a better future. The blood spilled that night will not be forgotten, and the voices silenced will continue to echo in the hearts of those who dare to hope for a brighter Nigeria. Please like, share, and follow or subscribe to this page for more. Thank you.